So I've heard that you've been struggling with some issues, feelings of sadness and anxiety, and I just wanted to give you the chance to open up to me or to anyone, but right now me. And I just wanted to give you a safe place that's relaxed, free of judgment, that you can open up and let your feelings out, because that's very important, especially in today's state. So I did find a depression screening or questionnaire and also an anxiety questionnaire, which I'm going to be screening you for both, because I've heard that you've been struggling with feelings such as anxiety and sadness. All I ask is that you're honest with me, okay? And I'm going to be recording your results, so if you hear me writing, that's why. Before we get started with the screening, I just want you to tell me how you've been feeling in general. Have you been feeling happy, sad, joyful, lazy, sleepy, exhausted? How have you been feeling lately? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of us have been feeling these feelings that you're feeling, so you're not alone. Sadness that you can't really shake off, or just feeling like being in bed all day or doing nothing and literally not being able to, or physically not being able to do other things that you enjoy. And maybe right now you don't even enjoy those things that you used to enjoy doing. Okay. And then I also noticed that you said that you've been having some anxiety going out in public. So explain that to me a little bit. Are there certain areas that you feel more anxious? Like if you go to a certain place, do you feel more anxious? Okay. Okay. So any public place. Right. Right. Do you live with anyone, like a roommate or your family? Do you have any pets? Okay, you have a dog. So that's good. Dogs are really therapeutic, and I always suggest to patients or to clients to really lean on their animal, because animals are very emotionally intuitive, and a lot of people feel less alone when they're with animals. So, right. Okay. So yeah, I did just want to get kind of a general look at how you're feeling without asking any questions, just kind of from your experience, what you've been feeling. So I think I got a good general look at how you've been feeling and the emotions that you've had the past few months. So I am going to ask you some questions. I'm going to do the depression screening first. So how this screening works is it has, let's see, 10 different questions, and each question is rated from 0 to 3. So I'm going to go over the ratings a little bit. So I'm going to ask you a question, or not even a question, like a statement, and you're going to say 0, which is not at all, 1, which is several days, more than half the days is 2, and 3 is nearly every day. And those are your responses to the statements that I'm going to be saying. It will make more sense once I start asking them. Little interest or pleasure in doing things. So do you have that not at all? Do you have that several days? Do you have that more than half the days or nearly every day? Okay, so more than half. And what things did you find pleasure in before? Eating? Okay. Anything else? Working out? Okay, and playing with your animal. Okay. So question number 2. So have you been feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? 0, not at all. 1, several days. 3 or 2, more than half the days, or 3, nearly every day. Feeling down, depressed, or hopeless. So how many times would you say you feel that? 3, nearly every day. Okay. 3, trouble falling or staying asleep or sleeping in too much. So do you have that 0, 1, 2, or 3? Okay, so more than half the days. Do you use anything to aid your sleeping? Melatonin. And what's the dosage that you take for that? Okay. Okay. Number 4 is you've been feeling tired or having little energy. So 0, 1, 2, or 3. How often do you feel tired or feel like you don't really have any energy? Okay, so more than half the days. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people can feel tired or feel like they don't have a lot of energy some days. But when you're feeling that constantly, or when you're feeling that every day, that might be a sign that something more is going on. Some people need more sleep than others. Some people are more tired than others on a daily basis. But when it starts to interfere with your life, and when you start having that with the other things that I've been listing, then it becomes an issue, because then it's kind of affecting your life, your daily life. But good question. Okay, number 5, do you have poor appetite, or how often do you have poor appetite, or are you overeating? So there can be 2 ends of the spectrum. You're either not eating enough or you're eating a lot to kind of cope with everything you're feeling. Several days? Okay. And would you say you've been eating a lot more than usual or than you used to, or have you just not had an appetite at all and you just haven't felt like eating at all? Okay, so overeating. And I'm guessing junky, greasy. Okay, pizza. I love a good pizza, but doing that every day can have effects on your health, not just mentally, but also physically. So it's important we get that under control by getting your mood under control. Okay. Number 6. How often do you feel bad about yourself, or that you are a failure or have let yourself or your family down? So we have 0, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so nearly every day. Okay. And my question to you is, how are you feeling like a failure, or how are you feeling like you're letting yourself down or your family down? Okay, so you feel like you're letting your family down the most. Okay, and how so? How do you feel like you're letting them down? Okay, that's completely valid. I would say that can be tricky because on one hand, your family are people who you should be able to go to and get support when you need it. But if you're feeling like they're not understanding you, or they feel like you're failing because you're not doing what they want, then that can be really difficult. You can only control how you feel. So if you're worrying about what your family is thinking or what your friends are thinking, that's only hurting you in the end. So I think focusing on how you feel about yourself. Number 7, how often do you have trouble concentrating on things, such as reading the newspaper or watching television? So 0, 1, 2, or 3. Okay. Okay, so several days. So you're feeling more like you don't really do anything, so you're not noticing a difference in your concentration. Okay. Do you watch TV? Do you watch Netflix or TV shows? Okay, when you're watching those, do you notice like your thoughts are scattered, or that you can't focus on what's going on the screen? Okay. Okay, question number 8. How often do you have issues moving or speaking so slow that other people could have noticed, or the opposite, being so fidgety or restless that you have been moving around a lot more than usual? Okay, so not really at all. Good. We won't talk about that further then if you're not having an issue with that. Question number 9. How often do you have thoughts that you would be better off dead, or better off hurting yourself? Number 2. So nearly, or more than half the days. Okay. So I just want to say with that is, first of all, do you have like any plans, or like a written out plan or ideas of what you would do if those thoughts were to come to fruition? No? Okay. So it's good you don't have a plan. I just want to say that whatever you're going through right now, it's going to be okay, and there is hope for the future. And I know that you may not feel like that because you're obviously going through a lot of emotions and a lot of sadness, but you're here for a reason. Everyone is here for a reason. It might not feel like it at all, but you are. You're here for a very specific reason, and only you can fulfill that reason. And by leaving before your time is up, it's not going to help you. It might help you for a short period of time, but it's going to bring more sadness to the world and more devastation and sadness to your family. And even if you feel like your family or your friends don't get along with you, they're still going to be sad if you're gone. So I just wanted to say that. And I know a lot of people don't hear that enough, that you're worth living, you're worth being here. And sometimes it can feel really hard to be here, but that's also part of life. It's a journey. It's not easy a lot of the times. Everything will be okay. Everything works out in the end. So anyway, moving on. Okay, so if you checked any of these problems, which you did, how difficult have these problems made it for you to do your work, take care of things at home, or getting along with other people? So not difficult at all, somewhat difficult, very difficult, or extremely difficult. Okay, somewhat difficult. Okay, so that's the end of that questionnaire screening. So I'm going to add up these numbers really quick, so hang tight. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Let's just see what this says here. Okay. Okay, so my score was 17. Or your score was 17, my score. So I would say that puts you at the level of being moderately severe depression. This questionnaire is not the end all be all. I don't even think it's a professional questionnaire, but it's just something that we can kind of gauge where you are right now. So yeah, that puts you there, which means there's room for improvement. There's room to get better. Okay, so before we run out of time, I did just want to do the anxiety questionnaire. So let's do that really quick. So this is called the Generalized Anxiety Disorder Assessment, or GAD-7, which I think is a test used by professionals. So I'm just going to ask you these questions. And again, with this questionnaire, just like you did the other one, you did great on answering the questions very openly and very honestly. And that's the only way you're going to get better. So again, answering the questions very openly and honestly. Okay, so your answers, or your choices of answers to this questionnaire, is not at all, several days, more than half the days, or nearly every day. So we'll say 0 is not at all, 1 is several days, 2 is more than half the days, and 3 is nearly every day. Okay. So how often do you feel nervous, anxious, or on edge? So 0, not at all, several days is 1, more than half the days is 2, and nearly every day is 3. Okay, so nearly every day. Okay. Okay, question number 2 says, how often do you feel not being able to stop or control worrying? 0, not at all, 1, several days, 2, more than half the days, or 3, nearly every day. Okay, so 1. Okay, so several days. Question number 3. Worrying too much about different things. Not at all, several days, more than half the days, or nearly every day. Nearly every day? Okay, so we'll do that 3. How often do you have trouble relaxing? Several days. Okay. And would you say you have things that help you relax at all, or do you just, like, what things help you relax? Okay, so you don't really have anything that helps. Okay, and how often do you feel so restless that it is hard to sit still? Okay, so nearly every day. Last 2 questions. How often do you become easily annoyed or irritable? More than half the days? Okay, so it's 2. And then, how often do you feel afraid as if something awful might happen to you? Nearly every day. Okay. All right, so let me add these up really quick. 3 plus 3 is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 is your total. We'll enter that in here. Okay, so yeah, it's saying with your responses that you have severe anxiety. So I'm gonna get rid of my questionnaire here. So it's good to know where you are at. We will take this as kind of a baseline for how you're feeling right now, and then in future sessions we can actually talk about different coping mechanisms and how you're feeling and different ways to handle your emotions. But today I did just want to get a baseline level of how you're feeling, because everyone has to start somewhere. So we're starting here. I'll save your scores and I'll have these charted so that way we'll have it all in here, so when you come back we can leave off where we started. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in our next session.